Welcome to Points After Thursday. I know Greinberg wasn't expecting me to cut it off like that. There's a whole intro video, but I didn't have 45 seconds to wait for it to finish. Atlanta Falcons 4-9 take home the victory in the division against the 7-6 Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I want to say now it's 5-9 and 7-7, but ESPN hasn't updated their win-loss records in the box score. 29-28 Falcons. This was a pretty good game. Now I just refreshed. Oh, there it is. All right. So we had 373 yards and 3 touchdowns, 0 interceptions for Kirko. Is Kirko Cousins back? Baker Mayfield 277 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception, sacked 5 times. Bijan Robinson 19 carries for 93 yards and a touchdown. On top of that, he had 8 receptions on 11 targets for 82 yards. So we're talking 175 yards from scrimmage and a touchdown for Bijan on top of 8 more points from PPR. Leading the Tampa Bay rushing core was Bucky Irving with 16 carries for 60 yards. Sean Tucker had a touchdown with a goal line snipe. Greiberg and I in a co-owned team in the first week of the playoffs as the 5th seed or 6th seed, and we were debating. I had Rachaad White in the lineup, and he brought it to my attention earlier tonight, and so we made the co-executive decision to pull Rachaad White and go with another option. And that dude had 1 carry for 20 yards, 1 target, 1 reception for 6 yards. It looks like whoever is manning the show in Tampa Bay is an absolute fantasy terrorist. We saw the return of Mike Evans, 6 catches for 132 yards. He was dealing with some back issues on the sidelines, but it looks like he's a full go at this point. He and Baker are dialed in already. 12 targets, 6 catches. Jalen McMillan, 2 targets, 2 catches, 38 yards. And his debut of the season, and this is a guy that I talked about a lot in 2024, loved his profile. He was a league winner down the stretch in 2024, got his neck absolutely destroyed in the preseason, missed all of the first 14 weeks of the season, finally gets some action, 2 targets. Chris Godwin, 4 targets, 20 yards, and a touchdown. Emeka Egbuka, 7 targets, 4 receptions, again, like on the losing end of Baker Mayfield and his inability to create catchable targets for his wide receivers. It's becoming a problem. Baker was 19 of 34. That's dangerously close to a 50% completion percentage. In the receiving core for Atlanta, Kyle Pitts led everything with 11 catches, 166 yards, and 3 touchdowns. My brother asked me if he should start Kyle Pitts today, and I said, start Kyle Pitts today. And he had probably the best tight end performance of the fantasy season. I think that'll hold. I don't think anybody's going to match that. There's not going to be one game this season, looking back and looking forward, that beats Kyle Pitts in this game. Career game, 166 yards, 3 touchdowns, 12 targets, 11 catches. That's Cousins absolutely on target. Again, Bijan 8 receptions, 82 yards. Darnell Mooney 6 targets, 3 receptions, 35 yards. Charlie Werner outdid Tez Johnson. You remember a few weeks ago when everybody was like, Tez Johnson. Charlie Werner just out-targeted and out-caught Tez Johnson. He had 2 catches for 12 yards. And one of the big stories, 10 targets, and this is something that anybody who watches the Fantasy Forecast, especially our recap show that drops on Tuesdays, and watched 2 weeks ago, I brought this name up and I said, get this guy into your roster, David Sills V. Now, most of you still haven't heard of him unless you watch the Fantasy Forecast. David Sills V, 6 catches, 78 yards. That's like almost 14 points in PPR. That's a 13-point performance in the playoffs if you listened to us and you had David Sills in your roster. I told you he and Kirk Cousins had practice squad chemistry for a long time, and it played out tonight. And then that's basically it. Bijan had lost a fumble. That was it on that side. None of the other fumbles were lost. And then if you play defense special teams and you had Atlanta in your lineup, they did have 5 sacks and an interception. So they were probably over the median as far as defense special teams are concerned. I know I had them in a couple leagues. All in all, a fun game. Not a Thursday night stinker. So yeah, let's get into this. It's week 15. We're in the playoffs. And we will handle your start sits questions. I will also be here at 8:30 a.m. Pacific, 11:30 a.m. West Coast or East Coast time on Sunday to handle your start sits questions. If you still have questions, there's a lot of things that you can do to figure out who to put in your lineup. You can watch our start show. You can watch our sit show. You can watch the weekly recap that dropped on Tuesday. Figure out some waiver wire ads. It's money time, baby. This is when the money's made. All right, Jamie Pirog checking in. If Biggs and Greinberg dressed up as Batman and Superman, this duo would be unstoppable and undroppable. Thank you, sir. I would not prefer Batman or Superman. I'm not a DC guy. I'm a Marvel guy. So I would dress up as either Juggernaut from X-Men, or if I was a little bit slimmer, Daredevil, because he's my favorite comic book character of all time.
I'll be Captain Canuck.
Heck yeah!
Let's go. All right, Biggs. What a week we are about to get into here. 16 teams, 16 games, and no buys. This is what we, give our viewers. This is what we, it comes down to this. And there's some big games this week, some monster performances, and hopefully you're on a bye this week, as many of our viewers are, because I'm sure they've tuned into the Fantasy Forecast and the Dynasty Pulse, and have got the luxury of that extra week of rest for your fantasy teams. But if you are in the middle of things and you need to, get a question answered or two, just jump in the chat and we will be here for show. Now, big
45.6 points for Kyle Pitts. 45.6 points.
There you go. Let's go. That's a huge game. And
I'm going back over. I'm looking through. Okay, that's not top 10 in the last 5 years, but still, that's 45.6 points. Sorry, go ahead.
This is going to be the talk of fantasy football over the weekend, I'm assuming, because you can't ignore this type of performance from a tight end, and one that everybody thought would have maybe happened 2 years ago. And all of us that, were bought into Kyle Pitts at one point or another, the guy is still really young, and this might be just the start of a team blossoming. And you look at the offensive weapons they have: Bijan, Drake London, and Kyle Pitts, top round draft capital the last 3 years. It's about time this team started coming together, and not to mention, Michael Penix, but Kirk Cousins bringing things together against a team that, hasn't been great this year because of the injuries that have happened to the Buccaneers. So interesting synopsis here. Let's see what the next couple games bring for this Bucs team. But also I'm looking at this Atlanta team and maybe what would happen if Drake London would have been in this game. So huge game here that Biggs I'm really interested in talking about, and that's the Commanders versus the Giants. Large implications here, in my opinion, for fantasy football. A couple big time quarterbacks, coming in here. Mary,
Never know.
this week as a
yeah. The fun thing is we never know if it's your system that dropped or mine.
Yeah, I think I was on there for a while talking about the matchup: Mariota versus Dart. I mean, both of these guys I have as top 12 quarterbacks this week. What about you, Biggs?
Say that again.
Mariota and Dart.
Yeah, yeah,
Top
yeah.
12 quarterbacks.
So, teaser for our start show that drops on Saturday. I have Marcus Mariota as an absolute start. If you are in the playoffs and you're looking down the barrel at like, the example I used in the show was Kirk Cousins. So, and that was wrong. But if you're looking down the barrel of like an iffy matchup at quarterback, I know that Greinberg had Bo Nix as a sit. So if you're looking at Bo Nix, go ahead and swap Mariota into your lineup. There are two things that work here. Number one, Marcus Mariota is good, and he has that rushing upside that we talk about as a cheat code. And that's always been the case. So you have this separation between fantasy good and in real life good. And Marcus Mariota has always been fantasy good. So when he gets a chance, he does produce on a fantasy level. The problem is he's a QB2 everywhere he goes, so he only gets in with it when there's an injury. But when he does get in there, a couple of years ago when he was with the Falcons, I think it was 2023, he was like a quarterback 10, like he was a top 10 quarterback in all of the games that he started. Not individually, but like when you cumulatively, he was a QB 10 with accumulated points. So we know that he has that ceiling. Well, this is a great matchup for him because the New York Giants give up a lot of points to quarterbacks, and Jackson Dart is really, really good. So the Giants are going to score a lot of points, and Washington is going to score a lot of points, and Mariota is going to benefit, and Jackson Dart is going to benefit. I would not be surprised if this is the highest point total of the week. I'm betting the over. I think it's going to be a huge game for both of those quarterbacks. And I have at least a couple of leagues on the Superflex side where I have both of them going. And I'm excited about it because I think they're both going to score huge this week.
I'm excited about the pass catchers too in these matchups. I mean,
Yes.
like Terry McLaurin is a guy that I've had my eye on since him coming back, and that relationship with him and Marcus Mariota has blossomed, and it looks like he's been a guy to be targeted. I think that this is going to be a really good opportunity for this. Him and Deebo Samuel as well. I think that this target concentration is going to be very solidified between those two guys. You mentioned Ben Sinnott maybe being a beneficiary of some targets here too because of Zach Ertz's injury.
Zach Ertz is gone.
Yeah, so I mean, there's obviously going to be some targets funneled to him too. So look at those three guys being, potential plays here in this week. Absolutely.
Don't forget about Wan'Dale Robinson, who's a target god, and Theo Johnson. I mean, we've propped Theo Johnson up for the last 2 years, and he and Jackson Dart have a relationship, and it's borne out every game that Jackson Dart plays. It looks like Theo Johnson has like a good go-to game. Even with Jameis Winston, Theo Johnson looked like he was going to be pretty good. I would say over 37.5. I think the last time he had over 50. So I think 37.5 is a good number. Jamie.
Love it. Yeah, I think that's the line, and I think that's the kind of where his ceiling will be. And I
want to address this real quick. Did you see Big Game James' prediction of Mike Evans on my Tuesday cheat sheet at Going for Two? Called Mike Evans 200 yards. Well, guess what? He didn't get 200 yards. Just thought I'd point that out.
All right. But he got close to it. I mean,
sure. Yeah. So did Kyle Pitts.
Yeah, there you go. All right. All right. What are some other matchups here that we like? What's your thought on the Giants' backfield here? Tyrone Tracy playing this week? It's an iffy one here, and if he does, I think that's a really good situation for him to be in.
It may be, but I'm fading him at this point. Devin Singletary has, for some reason, this new coaching staff really likes Devin Singletary over Tyrone Tracy. We've talked about Tyrone Tracy a lot on the show, and his receiving ability has been the big topic of conversation between us, and he has not lived up to that billing because the New York Giants don't utilize him the same way they do with, like, say, a Bijan Robinson getting 11 targets. I'd love to see it, but we just haven't yet. And with Devin Singletary getting the goal line touches and the most usage in between the 20s. Tyrone Tracy's been a fade for me for the last few weeks,
You know what's
even in
not
a
been
good matchup.
You know what's not been a fade for me? I've been itching for it, and I'm going to hear all about it right now.
Hey there, friend. Biggs here. It's time we had a conversation about a dilemma facing most Americans. I'm talking about PDD, pickle deficiency disorder. You or someone you know loves pickles and suffers from PDD. Thankfully, there's someone to help. Chris's Smoked Pickles. Chris is doing big things up in Big Lake, Alaska, mainly making the best freaking pickles you've ever had. Chris's Smoked Pickles come in 3 flavors: regular, jalapeno, and my favorite, habanero. That's for the chili heads. He's also making these flavors in a jarred relish, perfect for hot dogs or other sandwiches. The smoky brine is also fantastic in a dirty martini. If pickles aren't your thing, don't worry. Chris is also smoking various cheeses and meat sticks. And he makes a trail mix. You can find Chris's Smoked Pickles on Facebook and reach out to him on Messenger, or call him or text at the number on the bottom of the screen. Use hashtag Biggs in the message for a special deal exclusive to my viewers. Don't live another day with PDD. Order from Chris's Smoked Pickles now. Yeah, I had a habanero one earlier. Jamie I guessed it on Jamie's show last week, and he informed me that he got a big order that got delivered. I'm about to get a Chris's smoked pickle and put that smoky goodness in my mouth, and I'm eating one right now, the original, but I do enjoy the jalapeno and habanero. I diced up a habanero one and put it in my egg salad today for lunch. I love Chris's meat and nuts in my mouth. We all do. We all do, Jamie. One thing I love about that commercial is you can see the cut where I talk about the pickle martini. And when I was recording it, I lifted up this big, huge martini glass because I had a pickle martini in it, and it knocked into something on my desk and just spilled everywhere. And I couldn't continue, so I cut it there, I love that. I love that cut spot.
I love the pickle. The pickles. It fancies my tickle, if you will. Now let's get back into some fantasy football content, because it's always good to take a 5-minute pickle break, and I was able to take a tickle while I pickled. Anyways, Biggs, we got a couple more games here, and I want to talk about the Ravens and Bengals, because the last time they met wasn't quite the fantasy output that we were thinking, but looks like Lamar's back after last week. Had some rushing upside, back to what his dual threat ability was there. I'm looking for both of these teams to come back and have a monster fantasy performance in Cincinnati. What are your thoughts? Are they all going to be getting that chili on their dogs, or is it going to be chililess dogs?
Oh, Skyline?
Skyline, man, come on, it's
Yeah.
Cincinnati, bro. We went
Skyline was
there. We
amazing.
ate that shit, man.
Skyline was amazing. It was way better than I thought it was going to be. So the Vegas line on this one, it has Bengals at 25 points and the Ravens at 27.5. So we're talking an over-under of like 52.5. I want to say that's the big. It's not the biggest. Detroit and the Rams are at 55.5. I'm going to Detroit and the Rams. I'm going under the 55.5. I probably would for the Bengals and Ravens too. I'm just not sold on Lamar Jackson at this point.
Do it.
Even though he has the best matchup in the run game and the best matchup in the pass game in terms of rushing and passing yards allowed per game for the season, it is the best matchup. So, I mean, I could see this going that way. But Baltimore is better against the ground than against the run than average. They're not good against the pass. It is top five matchup for Cincinnati wide receivers and Joe Burrow. So DFS, I'm going Burrow and Chase hard, and then with the Ravens, all of them except. Stay tuned for the sit show dropping on Friday.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of tend to disagree here on that. I think this game is going to be the one that's going to be explosion, just like the pickles, right? I think these pickles are going to be exciting, and I think this game's going to be exciting. I think Lamar's stomach isn't going to digest the way it normally does. He's going to be on the field the whole way, and I think that this is a pickle of a situation for
A dilemma, you mean?
exactly. Yeah, like it's a situation, and I think it's going to be on the over here, Big. So I want to hear your thoughts. There's two games in particular. We're going to talk about the monster game.
Wait, don't go away from that. Poor weather, 26% chance of rain, 9-mile-an-hour winds, and temperature in the teens, which I know is no big deal for you. But right around game time, it's going to be in single digits. So I don't know if it rains, it's going to be cloudy. 25% chance of rain. If it rains, it's going to be good for the ground game. So just throwing that out there when we start talking about playoff matchups in the last quarter of the season, which we're in now, we have to start talking about East Coast games, Green Bay games, Chicago games, all these games that are played outside in the bad elements, Buffalo games. This is one of those that's going to be super cold. It's 9-mile-an-hour wind. I can't calculate the wind chill if it's 9 degrees with a 10-mile-an-hour wind. I don't know what that means, but it certainly means that it's going to feel colder than 9 degrees. So you are a Canuck, obviously. It's like I think that plays a part.
Yeah, man. I mean, and I don't know if any of you guys are paying attention to the fantasy points, but they like Barfield went online today and he did a stream about cold weather games and running backs and how that plays into it, and just like Derrick Henry in the years past, how well he's done in these home stretch in these cold weather games. Well, these Packers, these Broncos, talking about that matchup. Both defensive teams, relying on their run game, and they're facing head-to-head leaders of both of their own divisions respectively, and the juggernauts essentially of each conference. So this game I've got circled on my calendar as far as I want to must watch this one, alongside obviously for fantasy implications the Lions and Rams. But let's talk a little bit about the Packers Broncos here and what you think about going to happen in this game, Biggs. It's in Denver, so the altitude may play a factor. Josh Jacobs has gone for another MRI to make sure his knee is cleared, but he's getting that swelling week in and week out. What's your thoughts on him, and how confident are you playing him in week one of the playoffs?
I'm not. In most of the situations where I have him, I just don't have any other choice. This is another game that is it's probably going to be dictated a lot by weather. It's also going to be dictated by like team defense. Both of these defenses, the Packers and the Broncos, are very, very good. The way Vegas sees this is Packers as 2.5-point road favorites, which is wild to me. Denver tends to funnel to the run. They give up 15 yards fewer per game than average against the run, and 28 fewer yards per game on average in the passing game. And then Green Bay is kind of the opposite, -20 against the rushing game and -14 against the passing game. In DFS, I'm fading most of the Packers except Christian Watson. I think he's going to get loose at least once. And then same with the Broncos. I'm fading most. Don't know who to rely on. I don't know if the game script is going to be favorable enough for RJ Harvey. Somebody that I know, not to give anything away, but has a very instrumental Broncos player as a sit, so you're going to have to watch our sit show for that. I'm not huge on anybody in this game except for Christian Watson, and then if I have to go with Jacobs, I go with Jacobs.
I love that call, Biggs. I'm right on there with you, and you never know what's going on with this Broncos offense outside of RJ Harvey, who's going to have some troubles against that Packers defense, and Troy Franklin, Pat Bryant, Cortland Sutton. You never know who's going to have their spike week in that offense, and it's really tough here.
So I want to jump in here real quick while it's on everybody's minds. I just ran a report. So I asked for temperature correlation by position in fantasy football points. And it says that tight ends are the most temperature sensitive. It's a strong negative correlation. In cold weather, they average 4.0 points. In hot weather, they average 3.42 points. They show the most dramatic decline in hot weather. Running backs are surprisingly cold weather friendly. In freezing conditions, 7.04 points per game. Warmer weather, 6.79 to 6.81. They actually perform slightly better in harsh cold conditions. Quarterbacks are kind of moderate. They're pretty stable. Defense, special teams, the only position that likes cold. There's a very positive correlation with defense and special teams. Wide receivers are the most weather resistant. 6.46 below freezing, 6.34 other conditions. They show minimal temperature sensitivity. Same with kickers. For hot weather games, avoid tight ends when possible. Quarterbacks and running backs see modest declines. Cold weather games, target defenses for potential upside. Running backs may see a slight boost. Wide receivers perform okay in freezing conditions. And so maybe sometimes we have an idea in our head that like, oh, it's a cold weather game, these things are going to happen. Data says otherwise.
Data says otherwise. All right. What about your thoughts here? Okay, Devontae Adams missed practice 2 days in a row. That is a huge alarm for me. Hamstring, veteran rest, or is this raising some concerns for you, Biggs?
It raised concerns for me, simply because we have Devontae Adams in a very necessary position, and he's an older guy with a soft tissue injury. Those tend to linger. We're going to chalk it up on Thursday to veteran rest. We're not going to panic until Saturday.
Saturday is the day of reckoning here?
Yeah.
All right. Well, this is an easy one here, Cody, for us because Roma Dunze is not going to be playing this week. So,
Romeo Dubs, shout out University of Nevada at Reno, where I just spent 4 days.
There it is. Reno, it's the Cadillac of the gambling circuit, right?
If Las Vegas is the Ferrari and Branson is the broken down VW Bug, then yeah.
I was hoping you were going to get some sort of analogy like Biggs does so eloquently on our shows. I love this. So, Devontae Adams is...
You want your soul to die? Go to Branson, Missouri.
I mean, look at... Yeah, exactly. I love it. Okay, a couple questions here for you regarding that Rams backfield here. And Blake Corum being the most efficient guy, no wonder the Rams have turned to him. 7+ yards per carry and incredible efficiency and great timing for us as we, shipped him off in one of our dynasty leagues for a thought of a league winner, but getting Chase Brown in return. But yeah, tough situation there. Blake Corum, is he going to surpass Kyron Williams by the end of the year, in your opinion here, Biggs?
I mean, okay, so that's an iffy question. So I have always, for the past 2 seasons, I have been of the mind that Blake Corum should be the go-to guy. I was one of those who pounded the desk for Kyron Williams not being good. I liked Blake Corum. Matt Kelly was right there with me, anti-Kyron Williams. Entire player profiler roster was like, Kyron Williams, no. But Sean McVay gives him the volume to be the RB1 in that backfield. But we've all known, give the ball to Blake Corum. So, I mean, it sucks because he didn't break until right after we traded him. And the way I was looking at it when we were talking about the negotiations and I said we should offer Corum was he's not going to get his chance this year. We've known his talent level. We had it put, and then what happens? The next 2 weeks in a row, he has huge games, and we're like, I mean, we got Chase Brown out of it. Hopefully, he can, help us navigate these playoff streets. But Blake Corum having a spike right at the wrong time for us. Thinking of benching Kyron, rolling with Gibbs and Marks and Henderson for 2 RBs and flex. Am I crazy? You're not crazy.
No,
I'm 100% on board with you.
On board.
So let's get it 49706. Get it.
Get it.
Go with that. You are right on with that.
Yeah, I mean, Gibbs, that's a knockout, obviously. And Marks, he is a top 10 running back. If he plays this week, you got to keep an eye on that ankle. He's a start of the week for me, and I was floating between him and Henderson. And Henderson is in a situation as well. Juicy matchup for him against the Bills. And
juicy beefcakes.
Juicy beefcakes. If you know what I'm talking about, listen up to the fantasy forecast because Biggs gives up some juicy beefcakes all day long. And
you might not want to watch, actually. If you have these guys, and I'm saying is that you might not want to watch, but I encourage you to watch.
But Woody Marks and Travion Henderson, just with the timeshare, I know this Rams Detroit game looks like an optimistic buy opportunity for Kyron Williams, but the Lions are a tough run defense, and Corum's getting a lot of that goal line work, and I just think this being more so a passing game for them, and I just looking at this as a good opportunity for these other guys.
This line is crazy to me. 5.5 point favorites. Rams are 5.5 point favorites. And I'm trying to figure out where the edge is. 49% rush to pass funnel for Detroit. So that's a wide receiver game. 46% for 46% for Detroit, 49% for LA Rams. Detroit is better than average against the run, and so is Detroit. Detroit is slightly worse than average in the passing game on defense, and the Rams are exactly average. They are the 0. So it's what's Amon-Ra's status is what I want to know, because that's going to dictate the outcome of this game. Because Detroit knows what they're doing. The Rams know what they're doing. It's Goff versus Stafford. This is like, a show-out game for each of them. The trade we made was right for the Rams. We came out ahead for the Lions. So one of the last times that we saw these two teams play together was just an absolute shootout down in L.A. So this is going to be a fun game to watch for me, but I think it's a lot more even than people think, especially the line makers who give this a Rams 5.5 point. Caleb Williams or Bo Nix. This is a rough one.
How about you go to the waiver wire?
Go pick up Marcus Mariota.
Yeah, exactly. Go to the wire, get Marcus Mariota. Guys like Stroud, Lawrence, Herbert, Brissett. I've got over all of those guys. I mean, Caleb and Bo Nix are kind of like back to back as back end QB2s for me. So Cody, if you can get somebody like a Mariota off the wire, yeah.
Here's the thing, Cody Jams. I know that you watched the show when we did the fantasy forecast a few 6 weeks ago, when I said Caleb Williams' window is opening up, and that first weekend that I expected, he didn't quite do so well, but he had a bunch of really good matchups in a row, and he absolutely showed out, and I called that. I said, this is what's going to happen. And then there was a drop-off. And that is what has happened the last 2 weeks. So the Caleb Williams window has closed. Bo Nix has a terrible, terrible matchup this week. And so you're going to want to pivot. This is not the week that either of those guys is going to advance you. And then Let's Get It said, thanks, fellas. Just a little nervous about Stevenson taking the Thunder. He's not. And this is another thing that we talked about on the fantasy forecast. Travion Henderson made his mark, and the New England Patriots coaching staff knows what they have in him. And Stevenson is a spell back at this point. He's not. It's not a dual back situation like Montgomery and Gibbs. And so it's Travion from here, and he has great matchups the whole rest of the season. So it's Travion for life.
Like for me, I mean, this week especially, it's splitting hairs between Kyron and Travion Henderson, but I'm going to go with the explosive run rate because both those guys are pretty much splitting their backfields right now. And Travion in that matchup against the Bills, I think is going to be explosive. And I think he's going to get one of those 40-yard run touchdowns this week. And I'm going to bank on that. And that's going to be a week winning call. So yeah, bank on Travion over Kyron, in my opinion. One more question. Yeah. And this is a tough one. Might just close my eyes. Need 2 receivers. Myers, boom, get him in there. BTJ, Marvin Harrison, Luther Burden, baby. Let's do it. Let's go Myers and Burden for me. Biggs,
Same.
What are your thoughts?
I immediately thought that. It's Myers and Burden. Slayton is an afterthought. Mechie is like what happened.
You don't even know who's throwing him the ball at all, like Cook.
You don't know what's going to happen with BTJ. Jacoby Myers is very, very reliant and efficient. And Marvin Harrison Jr. won't necessarily play. Easy peasy. Myers and Burden.
Myers and Burden. Let's get it, buddy. Hopefully we've helped you this week make some tough calls for your fantasy lineup because you're obviously in the thick of things this week. And hopefully we've taken some of that pressure off of you and just stay tuned to those injury reports as we head into the weekend, and obviously make sure to stay tuned to our sit show tomorrow morning, dropping on the forecast 7 a.m. Central Time, and then we're going to follow it up with our start show on Saturday morning, 7 a.m. Central Time. But sure to take on our Dynasty Pulse, which is going to be airing 11 a.m. Central tomorrow, and a lot going on here on the network, not just from our behalf, but a ton of great creators putting things down the pipeline tomorrow night. Be sure to check out Joe Frick and our fearless leader, Tyler, because they're going to be doing from the forum live Q&A, just like we do PAT. And look at this. This is what it's all about, Biggs. What we do here is, when somebody just subscribes based off of our content, and we appreciate that, man. Thanks a lot. Let's get it. Be sure to check out the fantasy forecast because we're a redraft show. But also, if you're into Dynasty, and I'm sure you are, and if you're not, get into it because the Dynasty Pulse is bringing the heat every week, and we're going to get you ahead of the game in your Dynasty and redraft leagues. Biggs.
Yeah, with a name like Let's Get It, and the fact that you're watching this show right now after Thursday Night Football, you're a D-Gen. So you play Dynasty. So watch the Dynasty Pulse also.
Love it, man. All right, Biggs. 40 minutes in. Hit up all the questions on our chat. Got a lot going on. Headed into the weekend. Championships are going to be formed this week because those that are coming off of the bye are going to be facing a challenge because they're going to be facing the juggernauts that have gotten that bye, and you're ready for it because you've tuned into us and you tuned into our network here. And Biggs, why don't you roll us into the evening and tell us everything what's going on Fantasy Sports Advisor Night.
Watch everything tomorrow. Friday, the Dynasty Pulse that we just recorded earlier today drops. Our sits show for week 15 drops. Saturday, our starts show for week 15 drops. 8:30 a.m. breakfast with Biggs on Sunday. That's West Coast time. 11:30 if you are on the East Coast. That starts and sits, and I will shake up a cocktail. I got my boy Charlie coming on the show with me. And then Tuesday, we wrap up the Week 15 results and give you some Week 16 waiver wire ideas. Follow that up with Points After Thursday, this show right here, again next Thursday. As soon as the clock goes 0, we go live, and then we do it all again with the Dynasty Pulse and sit show for Week 16 starting on Friday. Whole lot of content. I think it's 5 days a week. Right here on Fantasy Sports Advice Network, on top of the other great shows, the Devi Dojo, from the Forum. Following Breakfast with Biggs, you got the Spilled Coffee Show with some of the best hosts I've ever seen in these internet streets. Love them all. Tune in every week. And other than that, like, subscribe, hit the bell, and we hope you win.
Hope we win, folks, and be sure to check us out next week because Week 16 is the next pivotal week as you head into your challenge of building your championship. And what do we do here on PAT and the Fantasy Forecast, Biggs?
We build champions.
And that's what happens here. So we hope you win, folks. Peace out.